All right, welcome back. I'm Dr. Stokes, and this is Bread and Butter Primary Care. And this is a patient information lecture on heart attacks. So, title of the video simply, What is a heart attack? Heart attack is probably one of the most famous medical problems. It's the thing that everyone fears happening to them. And so we're going to just talk briefly about what it actually means to have a heart attack and how it happens. Okay, so I'm going to do this with a couple different examples. So first, we all know that we have the heart here on the left side of our chest, and it pumps blood, right? And so the blood fills the chambers of the heart contracts, and it pushes the blood up through the arteries and out to all the tissues in our body and our extremities, okay? So think about the end of your finger here. So in order for this finger to work, in order for this muscle to function, it needs to have a blood supply. The blood brings oxygen, it brings nutrients, it brings the chemicals that this finger and these muscles need to work. So the heart pumps, the blood gets pushed up through the arteries, travels down the arteries, down my arm, and feeds the tissues of this finger. If you were to cut that blood off, so say you had a blood clot and it lodged itself in the little artery going to the finger, and the tip of my finger could no longer get the blood it needed, that would be called a finger attack if we were using the same terminology as we use for a heart attack. Okay, so the muscles of the finger, the parts that control the finger, stop getting their nutrients. They stop getting the blood supply, and so those muscles start to fail and they start to die, because without that oxygen and without that blood supply, they can't continue to function. So that would be a finger attack. So when we talk about a heart attack, that's exactly what's happening. The blood is not getting to the muscle of the heart. Now, sometimes people misunderstand the way the heart gets blood. So it's easy to think, well, the heart's full of blood, right? So it's like this cavity and it's full of blood, so how could it not get blood? But the muscle, the actual muscle of the heart, the parts that contract, is just like your finger. So there's an artery, just like when your heart pumps, there's an artery that carries the blood down your arm, all the way down and feeds your finger. There's an artery that feeds your heart. It's the very first thing that gets fed from a heart contraction. So your heart contracts, there's arteries right at the base of the top of the heart. The very first thing the blood starts coming out, there's an artery, the coronary arteries. Coronary is a word for heart. And so the blood comes out, it goes in the coronary arteries, comes back and feeds the heart. Okay, so the heart has an artery that travels to it, just like your finger has an artery that travels to it. Your heart has arteries that travel to it. The blood that's inside the heart does not feed your heart. That's what's being pumped out to the rest of the body. The heart has to have its own pumped out blood supply. And so a heart attack is exactly what we described in the finger, but just much sooner in the process right at the heart. And so if your heart pumps, the blood goes into the coronary arteries go back and they feed the heart. So that's how the heart gets blood. If that process is interrupted because of a cholesterol plaque or because of a blood clot, the piece of heart that is not getting blood supply begins to not function and begins to die. And that's a heart attack. And so if you've had a heart attack, or you're wondering, well, what exactly is a heart attack? It's simply the heart muscle is no longer getting the blood that it needs in order to survive, and so it starts to die. And I hope that's helpful for you, to help you understand a little bit more about exactly what a heart attack is. There'll certainly be more videos on what things we do to prevent heart attacks, what things you can do if you've had one to prevent future ones, and that type of thing. I wanted today's video just to be a simple, short description of what a heart attack is, and so I hope that helps you understand it a bit better.